Excuse me, Chinese spy who is in charge of stealing all of my American data. Could you, text me my iCloud password? I forgot it again. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
On the topic of how creepy it is that our data is collected when we use social media, in my opinion, I'm not so scared of the ramifications of that in terms of I don't think that companies truly care about our business. I don't think they care about our lives enough to ruin our lives with the data they collect, if that makes sense. I think they're concerned with collecting data about us, what our interests are, where we live, what we do, literally every move we make online. I think their interest with that is themselves and selling more stuff to that person. They're like, we need to know who our potential customers are so that we can sell them stuff, so that we can create advertising that is so aligned with their psychology that it's creepy. And when people say, oh, I'd never do DNA testing because they collect your information and they use that against you. And oh, I'm really careful about what I put out online. I'm like, yeah, those all make sense to me, but not for the same reasons I think that other people are arguing. I don't think companies care about us enough to use that data to harm us. We are harmed because they use the data to sell us stuff we don't need. And that's where the harm comes from. The harm comes from this whole psychological getting into our minds approach. They use our information to know us and to make what they're selling and the way they're selling it and the advertisements and the videos all so appealing specifically to us. And that in the long run is very psychologically damaging because we believe that we can just open our phone and enter this world where everything is for us. It's all a For You page and everything is curated to us, and we don't realize it's curated to us because they want our money, because they want us to be consumers. So that's my take on that.
Can someone explain to me why I'm supposed to care about social media apps taking my data? I'm dead serious. I really can't find any care at all. And maybe I'm missing something. I just feel like they already have so much information on me. I don't have anything to hide. Can someone fill me in?
Can we talk about the fact they're supposed to be stealing my data and selling it to other companies for what, marketing purposes? But at the same time, they're not doing a very good job of it. I just got an ad on my FYP for birth control, and my tubes are tied. So I'm like, y'all aren't getting relevant information. Is there a form I can fill out that lets you know certain medical procedures and allergies I have so you guys can target me better with these ads? Because, if you're going to steal my data and use it for marketing purposes, it would be really nice if you guys actually sent me ads of things I want. I don't know.
Thrown in the towel when it comes to keeping my data protected and safe, because I feel like a lot of these mega corporations just steal your data anyway. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous how many parameters and barriers I've gone through just to make sure my stuff is safe, and then I'll still get exploited and have my data stolen. I recently downloaded Snapchat again. I hate Snapchat so much. And the first thing I did, I made a completely new account on a completely different phone under a completely random name. My Bitmoji didn't even look like me. I said, no, I do not want to be friends with the people in my contacts. No, I do not want to connect my contacts, and I don't want my contacts to see me. Please tell me why the very first thing that happened was Snapchat's quick ad recommended me my girlfriend from my contacts. They're just, can I sue them for doing that? No tea to my girlfriend. But why? Why? If I say don't let my contacts see me, I don't want to see my contacts, I want no affiliation or connection at all. Why, after saying that, do I get my contacts on here? It happens a lot on TikTok too. I have never once enabled contacts on TikTok. Never, ever, 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 ever. I have seen my old roommate on here. I have seen people I've gone to school with on here. I have seen my brothers on here. I've seen my mom on here. Even people who are not in my contacts at all that I used to live with or do live with I see their stuff. And I'm just You have to be using some kind of data to steal my data. You are stealing my data behind my back in plain sight. And it wasn't just like a one random haha recommendation. It happens so much. It happens on Facebook, it happens on Instagram, any media, really anywhere. I say no, and then it will recommend me my contacts anyway. And I don't know what to do about it. We need to have some kind of class action lawsuit. We need to do something, because there is no way that you are just allowed to just steal my information like that. And I know they're stealing it, you know. I know apps like Facebook and Grindr are constantly under fire for stealing people's privacy information. They get charged $1 million, $2 million, $10 million. The users get $20 from it, and then they do it again because it's $1 billion company. And it happens endlessly, on repeat. I absolutely also hate the whole aspect of when you're on a website, literally any website in 2024, and you have to opt out of being tracked. They're just auto-tracking you. But then they have to say, hey, we are tracking you. Against your knowledge, against your will, against your consent. Please, if you want to, you can opt out of this. And they're having a really tiny button on the bottom right or whatever. On some websites, you have to actually opt out of every individual one. There's not an opt out of all option. But then after you opt out, it's not even all puppies and rainbows. I still believe they're stealing the info anyway. I really feel like they do it anyway. I feel like all of these bitches do it anyway. And I think what's absolutely crazy is the fact that data sells. Like, if you get my contacts, you're just going to see me taking pictures of my feet. That's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. When you look at my Google searches, all you're going to see is my grocery list. And maybe some corn in between. That's all you're going to see. Why do companies want my data so fucking badly? And why do they ask me? Why do they give me the option to opt out of it if they're just going to do it anyway? Why? There's no penalty, at least in the United States of America, for any company that just steals without your permission, without your consent. We live in a surveillance state where everything steals from you. That's why I'm like, I kind of just feel like throwing in the towel, because like, it's ridiculous. After finding out that like Google still tracks you in incognito mode, despite the whole purpose of incognito being not to track you. Oh my God. It's like, what's the point? What is the point? Also, another big thing, just about on any app. When you log into the app and it gives you like the option to like, hey, this app is going to be tracking you. Do you want this app to track you? You can either say yes or ask app not to track. You have to ask app not to track. It's not a we're not going to track you option. It's a ask them not to track you. I feel like they're still tracking you when you ask them not to track you. Again, I feel like everything does. And it's infuriating. It's just personally infuriating. It's out of control. I don't care what you gain from my ad viewing history. I just hate ads. None of this is accurate information. I am not a white 72-year-old dad from New Hampshire. I'm not. Stop recommending me bullshit I don't want to see. Stop stealing my bullshit. I don't know. I wish these companies would actually be held accountable. 1/4 of your net income should just disappear if you track me without my permission. If it happens at all ever again, especially after you've already been held accountable, 1/4 of your income immediately gone. Toast. And you distribute 1/4 of your total income to every person who was tracked. You just do that. We should just start doing that, man. I know it's capitalism. I know it's America. They don't actually want to see the end of tracking. They simply just want to see the end of people knowledgeable about being tracked. That's true. That's the reality we live in. And I hate it. Like I said, they're gaining like no info off of the average person because nobody likes ads, nobody likes being sold to, and nobody likes to have their data stolen without their consent. It's weird. And there's nothing I can do about it. At least I know of. If we can do a class action lawsuit, lawyers, let me know, because fuck this bullshit.
Well, that didn't take long. There's already bills to ban DeepSeek in the United States. Now, here's the thing to remember, folks. When you're using any AI, if you're going to their website and you're typing in prompts and you're asking the AI to generate things, that company, whoever it is, can see what you type in. They can. Even if it's HTTPS, at the end of the day, the company actually running the AI software can. If they've got it set up, they can log that. Some do, some don't. But you can download AI models locally. There's tools out there called Olama. Check it out. Check out Olama. It's for all systems. And it will let you download a large language model to your computer. Now, before, it wasn't so great because it's pretty small, but DeepSeek lets you run some pretty advanced models on your own machine. When you do that, nothing gets out. Nothing goes to those companies. So that absolves all responsibility. Now, again, I don't necessarily know that you would trust any AI provider's own website. If you do, just know they have your information. And that might be okay. Most of the stuff people are doing AI doesn't matter. It's up to you to decide what's important and what's not. Don't put anything on a website that you learned that has any AI running behind it that you wouldn't just share publicly. If it's something that's private that you do not want to share publicly, don't put it on OpenAI, don't put it on Gemini, don't put it on any of them, much less DeepSeek. Unless you download a model locally and run it on Llama, then you can do whatever you need to, because that won't get tracked. So don't buy into the fear. We knew the ban was coming. Anything in this country is better than something that's already here. The billionaires will find a way just to ban it rather than compete. New models are coming out. The advancements DeepSeek has done has forced OpenAI and others to get much better, and they have. They've already released models that are as good as or better within weeks, or not even weeks, within days of finding out about it. So be careful what you put in, but don't be scared of AI. It's here. Learn how to use it. Use it every day. Use the websites if you want. Just don't share anything personal. And if you do have something more detailed you want to use AI for, check out Llama and get on your own computer. And then you don't have to worry about all this crazy fear of your data being shared everywhere. AI is here. It's going to stay. You need to learn how to use it. So try it out and don't be scared.
I would really love to know what data the government thinks China is stealing. Like our names, our phone numbers, okay, like 8 million other things are doing that. But here's the thing, like what data are they stealing? On my For You page, 4 o'clock in the morning, on my cellular device, I watched a man fuck like 6 different kinds of pasta to figure out which one was the best. Mac and cheese one, by the way. He rated it. He went into detail about it. I just saw a video of Anne Frank, like a picture of Anne Frank, and it was like, this is the song I would play if I was Anne Frank in the attic, and it was Dirty Little Secret by the All American Rejects. Like, yes, China's going to find this information very valuable. This data, fucking priceless. Lock it in a vault.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
So we all know that our data is being sold. I know that is no surprise. But have you ever wondered who did it? Like, was it Walmart? Was it Aritzia? Did Target go and sell your data? Well, if you've ever wondered who is selling your information, here's a little tip for the next time you sign up for an account. Instead of adding your real name, like for example, my name is Rebecca Richard, when I sign up for an account, I'll write Rebecca Target. That way, when I receive mail or emails and they're referring to me as Rebecca Target, I'm gonna know exactly who did it. So what do you do with that information once you know that, for example, Target sold your data? Well, a lot of times companies can have a section on their website where you can opt out of your data being sold. There are a few main data brokers that you can reach out to have your information removed. But most importantly, this will help with knowing when you need to make a sensitive purchase, something that you don't necessarily want, like all of America knowing that you purchased. Maybe you do that purchase in cash, or maybe you pay with a more private card, knowing that this company is very likely going to sell your data and any of your purchasing habits as well. And I'm trying to not say the quiet part out loud, but we live in a world right now where when you buy certain medicines, for example, and you use those medicines, you can get sent to jail. So with that, we need to be careful about our digital footprint, where we're purchasing things, what we're purchasing those things with, and kind of knowing which of these companies are being shady and selling our information is a great starting point for knowing who we can trust.
Last year, I signed up for a class action lawsuit that said if you or a loved one had a Facebook ever in your life, Mark Zuckerberg definitely stole your data and you're eligible for financial compensation. That was me once upon a time. Do I still apply? And the fine print said that I did. So I applied. I was like, this is so exciting. This is Facebook money we're talking about. That's at least $60. So I put in my information, hit submit, and then I totally forgot about it. Until 2 weeks ago when I was scouring the web looking for some loafers, and that led me to a Reddit thread, which led me to a Reddit comment that said that they were going to use their Facebook class action lawsuit money to buy a new pair of loafers. I was like, hey man, I think I'm entitled to some of that. And then I had a sinking realization that maybe Mark Zuckerberg doesn't care about the fine print. Maybe I'll never see that money because he's mad that I deleted my account. And maybe he's doubly mad because he got caught doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. So I asked my family, you guys think Mark's gonna pay me? And they said, and I quote, "Don't hold your breath." And I really hope that's not the case, because if it is, it's just another thing that I have to add to my plate. I already have so much on my plate right now. I still have to make dinner. I have to do my laundry, fold my clothes. Now I have to fight Mark Zuckerberg for my class action lawsuit money. My plate's getting kind of full. Don't even say, you don't have to fight him. Forget about the money. He already stole my data. If you're going to steal my data, you might as well buy me dinner first. Or in this case, a pair of loafers.
Hi, this is part 2 to the video I just made. In that video, I talked about facial recognition and how it's being used to identify, monitor, and track people when they go into retail stores. Also, at the end of that video, I mentioned how you can be identified by your heartbeat. So, facial recognition and your heartbeat signature, those are two forms of what is called biometric data or biometric identifier. These are things that can be used, they're unique about your physical body or your behavior, the way you act, that can be used to identify you. So I just want to share a couple more of these that you might not be aware of. The first thing is your fingerprints. Many of you access your phone or your laptops by using your fingerprints because they are unique to you. Another one, biometric identifier, is your voice. So at banks, also being able to access different services like a digital assistant, they will ask you to speak your voice because your voice is unique and different to you. Another one is gait recognition, G-A-I-T, gait. That means the way you walk. So even if there's a system that's monitoring an area, they can't see your face, they can still identify you by the way that you walk. Another biometric identifier is your typing pattern. Everyone has a unique and different way that they type on their keyboards. Also, the way that you, when you have your phone, the way that you navigate and move on your phone or even your mouse. Those are all types of data that are being collected and can be used to identify you. And finally, the way you engage with technology. Everything from the way you open your apps, the way you tilt and hold your phone, the times of day and location you are when you use different apps, even how low you let your battery get before you recharge it. All of this data is being collected and being used to identify you. And once they know who you are, they can target you with ads or just keep tabs on you. So I know this might seem kind of weird, but when you go onto these apps and these platforms and you hit agree, you are giving them permission to collect all of this data about you. Someone says, I heard facial recognition gets it wrong a lot, especially when it comes to Black people. True. I'm gonna be back in the next video. Deuces.
This is another reason why we all have to make separate accounts, log in, email address, password, put all our information in. They're stealing it, they're selling it, and they're sharing it. Now, they may say something like, we don't sell your data. Right, you don't sell it, but you share it. You don't sell it, but you give it to third parties. So this is also what they do. But there's a ridiculous theory that's out there. What is it called? Oh, it's called the let them theory. Ridiculous grift.
Another thing with this TikTok ban, they keep saying, oh, the data. What is my TikTok data worth? What does my TikTok data look like? I scrolled through my likes. It was like, there was dance videos in there. Amoy the Goddess was in there. Y'all know Murda, his neighbors was making noise upstairs. That was in my likes. You know, there was a few recipes, some restaurant recommendations. Big Jada was dancing in her bathroom. I just don't think that my data is that important to anybody. And if it is, y'all need to put me on, because clearly I'm in the wrong business. I need to get into the data trafficking industry. Everybody's buying and selling my data. I'm gonna buy and sell yours. So if anybody knows how I can, you know, be the one selling your data, let me know. Like, tell me what the search queries are, because I don't even know where to begin looking. Probably here on TikTok, so the irony.
Hey guys, you know what I was thinking? You know what's really scary? I work in IT, and you know that a lot of our large corporations have turned their data over to Amazon and Google and Oracle, to these billionaires. They can literally stop functioning corporate America. They can. The billionaires can do it because corporations have turned their data over to them. That's scary.
Do you guys remember summer of 2016 when we were all out there chasing Pokemons? That seems like a lifetime ago, but I swear, that is the closest we've ever been to world peace, okay? You can't tell me I'm wrong.
When we talk about privacy from your company and having a work phone separate from your personal phone, it's not so that we're thinking about IT spying on you, but it's more so what this commenter is saying is not only that, but if the company is involved in a lawsuit, the phones can be subject to discovery, which means your personal info could be included in that. And that's exactly what we mean when we talk about privacy. I don't think someone's at their desk watching what I'm doing on my computer, but it's more so if the company is involved in a lawsuit or they wish to terminate you, they can use that information because they have access, because it is a company device, they have access to that information that they can use against you in the court of law through evidence. Whether you think you have something to hide or not, if you find yourself in that situation, a company will use anything to strengthen their case against you. It makes me think about my mother has a friend who was wrongfully terminated, and the company will do anything to make themselves look innocent even when they're guilty. Even if they're guilty of what they're being accused of, they will twist anything in their favor. We see this with politicians all the time. Any little sliver of space that they can use to manipulate something, they absolutely will. And so I see a lot of people on this original video saying that I have nothing to hide, I disclose my social media, I disclose my personal text messages, and it's giving up your rights so willingly is a really scary place to be in, because we have rights for a reason. We have protections for a reason. If a company has the ability to take advantage of you, they will. That's why we have employees' rights and protections, so that we can save ourselves from being exploited to extreme degrees from corporations or be terminated for reasons that they just want to make up. When you give up your right to privacy, you literally give away so many things.
Cyber criminals use USB ports in airports and stations to steal your data. Fun, right?
Stay safe and use battery packs instead of the charging stations, just like the FBI recommends.
That's what the FBI recommends. I'm out. What I personally recommend is maintaining a credit score in the low 400s while simultaneously committing tax fraud. That way, if and when cyber criminals steal your personal information, it's completely worthless to them. Oh, you want to take out a credit card in my name? You want to get a mortgage for a house? You want to pay medical bills? Yeah, me too, buddy. Welcome to the fucking club. And now you're wanted for tax fraud. You're out here playing checkers. I'm playing chess. Credit score low 400s, commit tax fraud. Plug your phone in wherever you want.
The FCC has charged the CISO of SolarWinds, and this is not just about corporate responsibility anymore, it's about personal liability. And it's almost an unprecedented move, and it sends a pretty strong message, because in the past, right, the C-level executives could sidestep the direct consequences of cyber incidents, but not so much anymore. This was a pretty strong message, and ultimately I think they're trying to leverage this as a wake-up call for the industry, for every one of us. We need to be elevating our game. We need to be enabling robust security practices against zero trust best practices. And we need to be embracing transparency in a proactive way, not just retroactively being, very sorry and apologetic about incidents. So let me know what you think. Were you surprised? And do you think this represents a shift in the industry? Let me know in the comments, and stay safe out there.
Oh, and I see a lot of people saying that they don't want to sign up for Red Note because they don't want to get their data stolen. Instagram's already stealing it. Facebook's already stealing it. All of these apps have your data. I promise you, Red Note does not care. I promise you. Sign up or don't sign up. Totally on you. But let that not be the reason, because it makes no sense.
But China's stealing your data. I don't care.
I would drop ship my DNA to the front door of the Chinese Communist Party before I watch an Instagram reel.
You know what's crazy? When I hear people make that argument about China stealing our data, that is like the stupidest argument that anybody could ever make in their fucking life. It's like, if there's a country that I don't give a fuck to have my data is any country outside of the United States government, bro. The only government that I do not want knowing what it is that I'm doing is the one that can knock on my door and come pick me up. Who gives a shit? China can have my news for all I care, bro. I don't give a fuck. They can go over there, man, make AI models of me. I don't care. That's all the way over there on the other side of the world, bro. The United States government is who I don't want in my business, man. I don't want them having access to my data, man, because they could literally, again, you download the wrong freaking song, man. I don't know if people still do that nowadays, man, the wrong movie, bro, and they can literally knock on your door, man, and throw you away for 30 years, man. China can't do that. Fuck them. Let them have the fucking data, man. I don't give a fuck about that.
Companies being able to take all of your data with very little regulation is a very bad thing. Part of that is because if a company knows so much about you, everything that you like, everything that you buy, the people who you spend time around, the websites you visit, then they can start to put products and information and content in front of you that will inform who you become before you've even made a conscious decision to become that. For example, say you get interested in a certain conspiracy theory. Might be real, might be fake, you don't know, but you're just exploring it. In a world where algorithms couldn't just collect all your data, you might just watch those couple videos and that would kind of be the end of your journey on that topic. You might become disinterested. But instead, this algorithm is now seeing you've spent a disproportionate amount of time watching this kind of content. Let's start to create momentum in that direction. All of a sudden, they make it very convenient to start taking in more content about that same subject. Maybe more intense headlines, more polarizing videos. And you're starting to get emotionally invested in this thing that you wouldn't have normally become emotionally invested in. All of a sudden, you start to think like, oh, maybe Joe Biden really is a clone. Maybe Trump really is still the president. He's controlling things behind the scenes. You know, to a lot of you, that sounds crazy, but there are literally millions of people who believe those things. And they believe them so strongly that they will actually get into physical fights with people who disagree with them if the situation becomes tense enough. So these data companies knowing exactly who you are and how to keep you on a platform through polarization means that they can start to turn you into this polarized, echo-chambered human being that's totally different than who you would have become if a company couldn't just ruthlessly collect all this data on you. And the same thing goes for your purchasing habits. Your money is being now spent on things that are being put in front of you so much that they manufacture desire. And if things get super intense, it could turn into things like they know all of your health history, they can deny you insurance, they can track you wherever you are. This unregulated data collection creates the framework where a totalitarian leader could come in and start to impose some really intense regulations on society. It becomes the slippery slope where all of a sudden we could have all of our money be digital currency and it can track all of our spending and know who we are even more intimately. It could give us, like in China's system, like a social credit system. You know, these are all things that if this kind of data collection gets out of control, it can create the framework for this kind of scary totalitarian stuff. So it can dictate who you are unconsciously, it can create unlawful governmental situations, and it's not good. We need regulation.
This is getting confusing because I know I'm very well qualified to the jobs I'm applying for. Rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. 10 years of experience that I'm not really jumping onto, because you don't need 7 to 10 years of experience to be a good X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying you can get a job with no experience. I'm just saying whatever this system is that's happening in the job market, it's not working. Luckily, I'm not like desperately needing a job. I have a job, thank God.
A lot of these companies have been stealing our personal data for many years now. It has been a huge issue. And now these job boards like Indeed and other sites literally steal our personal information and share it or sell it to other companies for a profit. And it's totally wrong. These firms should not be able to do that. We want jobs. We're literally applying on the site for jobs. And they are out here stealing our personal information.
I just went down a full rabbit hole of why companies keep reposting jobs or why job listings stay open for months on end. And this person commented that basically it's because they're selling your data. So I decided to do a little bit more digging. In this article, they're talking about that job sites tend to share information freely. And what they found was actually so interesting was that essentially this scholarship website, fastweb.com, was sharing demographic data to possible employers if they were looking to basically increase diversity. And also that the constant use of persistent cookies over here basically meant that your data was being passed on to third parties and potential advertisers. But essentially, job posting websites have found legal ways to actually figure workarounds of how they can share customer or job seeker data. While my initial thought was originally around LinkedIn postings, my suggestion to you is exercise caution when you are taken to an external website or any other job posting websites that maybe don't seem as legit. And kind of to reiterate on that, if you see an entry-level role being posted time and time again, I think that is reason for questioning because it is an entry-level role. So how can you expect people to, have that sort of experience if you are asking for an entry role individual compared to a VP of finance where a role might have been reposted or maybe open for quite a long time. So while a lot of this is some speculation and then some things that have been proven by some specific websites, I wasn't able to find anything particularly around LinkedIn or Workday or some of those big websites like Indeed if they are selling your personal data. So with that being said, here are some things that you should definitely not be including on job postings or job applications or even be having on your LinkedIn. When you are including a cover letter or anything of that sort, please do not include your address. They do not need to have your address. You can definitely put the city in which you're based in, and that should be enough. Please don't put your personal address on there. You don't know where that's going, first internally and then externally. This one was interesting, and I think I had to check on this to verify if this is legit. But apparently, you legally do not have to share your birth date on social media or a job board. I haven't applied to a job in a while, so I don't know if they require the birth date. But if so, I guess you probably don't have to have it because if you get the job, you're going to have to fill out different paperwork anyways. Oh my gosh, this one, do not use a resume distribution service. I know that can be super tempting to do, especially when you've been on the job hunt for quite a long time or, need to find something really quickly. But with that, you obviously risk a lot of that information being sold. You don't really know where those people are distributing your resume. And especially if you're including things like your personal phone number, your address, or even your personal email. I might even consider creating your own personal email specifically for jobs. So that way it's not the email that you use for your bank accounts. I feel like this is common knowledge, but sharing this regardless. Do not share your social media number on any job application. They should not be asking for that in a job application. Definitely when you get the full offer and get hired on, yes, but do not share that on a job application. All that to say is that some of these job postings might just be kind of a data collection sort of application, which is kind of a pessimist view sometimes, but for some instances it was true. So just exercise caution. I guess it's never, if it's not, 100% real, then, at least you're still being safe about your data. You never know where it's going to go, and being an extra cautious consumer or applicant is never a bad idea.
This is 100% right about the job market. I feel like that they are literally just taking our data and selling it out, so then we just get phone calls and emails and whatever else. And a lot of talk right now with all the TikTok stuff is, protecting our data. What about these giant businesses that are also taking our data and selling it off? Because that's what I believe they're doing. I don't know. It just feels so corrupt and messed up all around, and it's infuriating.
Why is it like totally legal to sell my data, like my phone number, and for companies to be able to pay to have my information? If you want my information, you should be paying me for it. I know this is happening on like job application forms where a bunch of companies are just like mining your data and they're not even planning on giving you a job. And then they're turning around and selling your data, because the amount of spam calls that I have started getting since I started applying for jobs is actually ridiculous. Like, I am considering paying $100 plus a year for an automated system to filter out the spam calls because it's gotten so bad. And I will answer them and tell them to take me off the list, and they won't. They will call me back the next day. I will block the numbers, and they will call me from new numbers. If I answer a phone call from somebody in California, all of a sudden all my spam calls are from California. What the fuck is going on? Like, let's talk about that, because this is ridiculous. And if anybody's getting compensated for my information, it better be fucking me, bro.
How to recognize fake job postings who only have the posting up because they're trying to steal your identity. I actually really love this question. Nobody's asked me it before, so I think it's really important that we address it. There is a lot of tips and tricks that I have to recognize scam postings. I'm going to give you my top 2. Number 1, pay attention to the job posting. You should actually be reading what it says and not just applying because of how much they pay. So if it sounds scammy, if it sounds salesy, like hurry, run and apply, positions going quick, stuff like that, like scam. From my experience, most of those are scammy. And if those are not scams, those are usually jobs that people hate working at. So make sure to check out the employee reviews. Tip number 2, when they email you, communicate with you through email, and every job is going to communicate with you through email. So don't say I never got an email communication. You should get some type of email communication. If nothing else, then your job offer letter, which should be emailed to you. But anyways, pay attention to the email address. If it looks like a scam email address, it's highly likely it's a scam. If it does not end with the @company name, you may want to look into it further, because that definitely could be an indication of a scam.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.